All right, welcome back, everyone. Round 4 of Zenith Online Racing. It's Tier 1. This week we're going to Austria at the Red Bull Ring. I'm Arbiga, and joining me this week in the booth, I think this might be our first time together, it's Scavney from Tier 2.
Welcome, everybody. First time Tier 1 this season. Ready for it. Hopefully it'll be a good race.
Hoping so. If everybody can just give us a little bit of feedback in the menu, in terms of, or in the chat there, in terms of our audio balance between us and the game itself, which I need to turn up. I already know that because it's way too quiet. I can barely hear any of it. I think that'll be better now. Yeah, I think that's much better. Maybe a tad too high. Let's fix that. But we got Packer out early in qualifying, as always, pretty much the standard at this point. And yeah, once we get a few viewers in there, hopefully someone can let us know in the chat how the audio balance is doing between myself and Mr. Scavney here. The game itself sounds nice and loud in my headphones, so I think we've got that figured out at least. There goes Packer twitching and weaving all over the place in this slippery qualifying. It's wet here. For quality, we don't know what kind of weather we're going to have for the race yet. Hopefully someone will update us shortly. We have a lock up there for Packer. Oh, another big slide. Just really looking for grip here. Vintage Packer, though, out first on a hot lap. Very quick out of the pits. Likes to get his screen time in early for qualifying, it seems. Making his way through the end of Sector 2 now, just starting Sector 3, very short lap here. We're probably looking at about a 103 for the top times here. I'm not exactly sure what our pole time is going to be, but probably around the 103s, give or take. Just looking very apprehensive. Actually, that would be in the dry. Obviously, in the wet, it's going to be a little different. So we got a 111.8. We don't really know where that or how that's going to hold up at this point. Camden, but he is on a push lap as well. The teammate to Packer. Let's see where he slots in at the end of his lap. We got Ryan who set a lap. He's about 2.5 seconds off of Packer's time. Is that Jinnit crossing the line? It is 1:12.3 for Jinnit, so that's a pretty handy lap in the rain. Get back to Camden here. Oh, he's hit some traffic. He's got Doth just in front in a terrible place on the circuit. Doth really struggling for traction, and it looks like Camden is maybe backed out of this or just apprehensive on the throttle. Not too sure, but good lap there from Durnia as well. Puff edges out Durnia by a couple tenths there. Puff pretty handy in the wet, even on the wheel now. So we'll see how he does tonight. Camden slots in behind Zem, just ahead of Puff by actually about 4 tenths ahead of Puff. So pretty good lap there, but just barely behind Zem.
Everybody's very tentative around here so far. There's lots of sliding and on edge, but everyone seems to have it under control so far.
Yeah, agreed. I'm not sure if it's going to dry up for the race or not. We don't know that yet, but I know there's a few people watching, so if anybody could just let us know how Scavney's audio's going, if he's loud enough for you guys compared to the cars in general. He hasn't said a whole lot, so we don't have much of a sample size at this point, but hopefully it will get you sorted. Compared to the game, you sound a little quiet, so maybe just bump it up a touch. That's just my guess. I don't know how it sounds to people watching at home here. Maybe if you can move your mic. What's that,
Just
sir?
bumped it up. Just bumped it up one. Hopefully that's a little bit better.
Okay, I think that sounds good. Yeah, you're a lot louder than the car. Not a lot louder, but a chunk louder than the cars now. So I think that's a bit better. There's Camden making his way back around. So let's try. We'll try to go find somebody. Maybe starting a hot lap. Doth looks like he's just kind of getting a feel for things out there. Not really pushing at the moment. Let's check in with Beck here. Beck making his way through the final sector. Runs really wide there, but it keeps it on, actually, so did not get dinged for that. Where are the audio gurus in the chat? Gotta let us know everything's sounding good on your end. I think you're definitely loud enough now, Scavney, for sure. I imagine whatever I hear, the chat will hear. So if you're a good chunk louder in the cars, we should be fine. Obviously, we'll figure that out shortly. But JXW making his way around. All right, Bobby, our audio tech, is here. So if you want to share your thoughts about the early stages of qualifying here, Bobby will give us some feedback and let you know how your audio sounds.
Well, it seems about what we expected so far. A few guys putting in a few laps, not worrying about the tire strategy at all, or just trying to get a consistent banker time and get a feel for the track. You know, hopefully we'll see time start to improve towards the end of the session.
Yeah, doesn't seem like there's too much of a dry line forming at the moment either, from what I can see anyways. It is getting a little bit more noticeable, but still pretty slick looking overall. 100% perfect, Bobby says, so I think we nailed it there. That tweak upward probably was just what we needed.
I did catch Beck having a spin on his outlap, but that's all I saw so far out of casualties for these drivers.
Beck is either flying or spinning. That's Beck in a nutshell.
Sounds about right.
I'm surprised he hasn't given me any shit about me pointing this out every single week, but until he does, I'll keep doing it. Porchy Dude looks like he has abandoned his lap. Is invalidated. Packer's on another out lap. Anybody on a flyer? Guys just sort of putting in a few laps on these tires. It looks like just trying to catch that track evolution out on track. Not too worried about the condition of the tires that they're running on. I imagine they get a fresh start, regardless of if it's wet or not. They'll get a fresh tire choice for the race. Interesting to note here, we got Camden, JXW, Beck, and Maverick all within a 10.5 of each other, fighting for P5 right now. So that's really good to see. Dernia's just barely edged them out as well. And then we got the best of the rest. Look at these guys up here. Lando, Packer, Jinnit with stellar lap times into the mid 111s. Doing really well. Let's check in with Packer here. He's been edged out by Lando. Lando still out on those tires at the moment, and Packer on a fresh set. So Packer has invalidated, actually, so let's jump to somebody else. So Moglis, looks like he's on a push lap. You can see that dry line starting to become a little more prominent now as we enter the halfway stage of qualifying. So probably going to see at least 2 or 3 more laps from everybody here, and Zem's off. Zem has spun it. He's off into the gravel pit here. Oh, and someone's followed him, too. That looks like a or Alpha Tori. Followed him off the road. Or was it Lando that followed him? Yeah, it was. I thought it was an Alpha because of the white, but it is Lando. Packer. So Packer will be starting another lap now. We'll check in with that shortly. We'll see if we got anybody else wrapping things up. Zem obviously has spun. Doth is just starting one. Axton is midway through a lap. Let's check in with Axton here. Usually pretty good in qualifying. He's been sort of quiet this year. He's usually fighting in that top 5, but just really hasn't secured a great result yet. I'm assuming that'll change sooner or later. But Axton making his way down to the final corner and heading towards that start-finish line. What time can he post? A 13.4, so a little off the pace there for Axton. Maybe had a moment on that lap. Not looking great at the moment. Eric making his way around has invalidated as well. Let's check in with Packer again. Packer about halfway through the lap right now.
I think as this session starts to progress, we'll start to see these drivers gain a little more confidence and start taking a few more risks around here. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see who can handle that.
Absolutely, yeah. The guys down in the back, they kind of need to get a banker in, and those guys fighting in the mid-pack right now, they've all kind of got their banker laps in, so they can go out and kind of have a push now without really risking too much. I would say everybody outside probably from Puff down, probably needs to get a better lap on the board before they really push it. Packer edges out Lando by 0.02 of a second. That's extremely close. That is incredible stuff in wet conditions. The difference in the time there in the wet is stunning, honestly. Should be a hell of a race between those two if it stays that way. Jinnit might have something to say about that. I don't know if he's got another 4/10 in that lap, but Jinnit has a really good lap time up compared to the rest of the field. We know Lando and Packer are sort of the token fastest drivers on the grid. They're sort of the guys you expect to be in the top 2 in quali every week. So see if anybody can disrupt that tonight. Doth puts up a pretty good lap time there, actually. 1:12.3 for Doth. 6 spots up on his teammate Puff. Just barely ahead of Camden and just slightly behind JXW. So Camden Luca just about to cross the line here. 1:12 flat for Camden, so he improves. T-Money into the 1:11s as well. That's a good lap from T-Money there. Breaking the 1:11 barrier. Camden just missed it. And Durnia, Joshua, you sort of expect those guys in the low 1:12s. Probably going to be able to find a few tenths now with the track improving.
Doesn't really seem to be lightening up or anything, so I don't think we'll see any sort of dry tires or anything, but perhaps maybe they probably will find a little bit more time towards the end. Not sure if they'll crack into the 10s or anything though.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Packer and Lando could. As far as these other guys go, though, I think that they will. They'll definitely improve for sure. I mean, there's going to be more grip out on track as the rubber's laid and that line sort of dries a bit more. But overall, I don't 5 minutes to go in quali. We're not going to see anything close to dry running here. Durnia ripping around on the same set of tires still. Looks like he's doing a couple runs again. The thing is with this track, you can, go in with 3 minutes left and still get back out for another fresh lap. It's a really short run, so pretty easy to get yourself back around and get extra laps on the board. Maverick here, looks like he's gone purple in Sector 2, unless that's that typical glitch, but stick with Maverick here, right on the right side pod. As he swings into the penultimate corner and into the final corner, making his way around to cross the start-finish line. No DRS at the moment, the wet conditions. 1:11.9 for Maverick, so really good improvement there. Puts himself into P5, breaks that 1:11 barrier as well. Puff in the pits. A lot of guys sitting in the pits sort of just waiting now to get that final run in. So we got Zem out on track. Doesn't look like he's
on an in-lap, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he's pushing based on the way it's handling. Lando's probably on an in-lap, and Maverick, I'd imagine, also on an in-lap.
Camden's finishing up his lap P4.
So yeah, Camden improves. Got another 2/10 out of that, but he's going to have to go back out with a fresh set and try to find even more time. Camden, let me check those standings. I think Camden is technically, I think he's leading the championship at the moment. We didn't check those standings. Sorry, I didn't check those standings before we started. I wanted to take a look at that before we got the stream running and sort of got distracted.
Lando goes P1, 1:11.04.
There we go. So not quite into the 10s yet. Is Packer on a run? Packer just started his lap. See if we can find anyone else on a hot lap at the moment. Looks like Axton pushing. Axton really needs to get a better time on the board at this point. Camden is leading the championship by 1 point over his teammate Packer. Then we got Lando, so it's 51 for Camden, 50 for Packer, 25 for Lando, 25 for JXW, and 22 for Matthew Durnia. That's your top 5 in the championship standings as we head into round 4. So let's see how that pans out for everybody here in qualifying, and we'll see if any of those guys can get an upper hand on their championship rivals. Axton 1:12.7, so definitely an improvement, but not what he's looking for out there. Let's get back to Packer, fighting for pole here. How much time has he found in this lap? Is it going to be good enough? He needs 2/10. Getting really wide, using all of the track. He's so good on those track limits. He just feathers it around constantly. It's a 1:11 flat, but it's not enough. Lando hangs on to pole for the time being. Is Lando going to stay out there for another run? Looks like Beck off the road here. Beck's made some kind of mistake. He's run off the track. Puff Digital out there on a lap. He is entering Sector 2 currently. Really, if you look at the times, I mean, Puff down in 16th with a 1:12.8. He's less than a second away from P4. So, I mean, that's a pretty ridiculous spread.
It's natural here at Austria. You see that a lot with such a short lap, and there's only only a couple of places where you can really lose time.
Yeah, definitely in the wet too. Interesting to see how close everybody's running still.
It makes it that much more impressive that you have that top two 6/10 clear of the field.
Yeah, exactly. And then also only 5 hundredths apart from each other. So it's pretty interesting to see the talent in Tier 1 here, how closely matched everybody is. And sort of consistently, week in, week out, everybody is running close together, even with the wet conditions. Whoa, there's Durnia nearly losing the car. There's Doth on a run. How's Puff doing? Is he almost done? Puff has invalidated, so he's going for another run, it looks like. Check in with Doth here. Doth with a big wobble there. He looks like he's down, so he's backed out of this. He's off the track. I guess that's T-Money going through. No, it's JXW who's struggling here in qualifying. He's been pretty rapid this season, but right now he's sitting P11 in qualifying, so he's going to need a big improvement here if he wants to continue adding to his points tally at the front. Here it comes. It's a 1:11.9 for JXW. That's the improvement he was looking for. Edges of his teammate by 0.005 of a second. That's impressive stuff. The times we're seeing here. And again, with the wet conditions, so much more room for error. It's so much easier to make a mistake, and yet everybody still running so consistently close together. We've got Maverick making his way around. Packer has broke into the 110s. He's 1:10.9 now. He's put in 2 laps on those inters and got himself into the 110, so he's snatched provisional pole for the time being. Oh, Portudude is out. He looks like he's lost it right there where Maverick was just going through. We saw a car on the outside of the circuit there. That's going to cause some problems for sure. Distractions at the least, and Maverick with a 1:12 flat. Actually, a 1:11.964 it says. Oh, okay. So he's done. He's done. Dernia's off the road here. Just behind the Alphas, yeah. Wow, a lot of traffic out there at the moment. It's not looking good for those guys trying to get in those hot laps. Lando is on a flyer. He's got Zamaglis in front of him. We're probably a little too close for wet conditions. Let's see what Lando can do. How much is he up in Sector 2?
It might cause some dirty air through this section here.
That is just barely enough for pole position if he can secure that. Zamaglis really needs to consider getting out of the way unless he's on a push lap himself. He's right in the way here. He is on a push lap, yes. He's trying to finish it up. Where does Lando go? It's not enough.
Broken the 10s, but it wasn't close enough.
No, he's just 100th, less than 100th. 9 hundredths. Sorry, less than a 10th. 9 hundredths off. So that's it for qualifying. Looks like everybody else is done. Yes, they are. Zem sitting in front of Lando there and didn't improve his time. So, oh, he did improve his time. My apologies. 11.8 for Zamaglis. So, it shows you the pace though. Lando looked like he was almost reeling him in there, catching Zamaglis, and Zamaglis still puts up an 11.8. That's pretty impressive.
He definitely could have got a little bit of slipstream through those first couple of straights, but then that middle sector it had to be difficult to maintain that line through those corners.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a weather update finally. Wet to start and then dries up, so it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a really fun night here in Austria. We see some really close racing, especially without DRS. It's going to be nearly impossible to get overtaking done, I feel, without the DRS there. But great lap from Jinnit. He hung on to that P3 spot. No one could crack it. So Packer on pole. Lando takes second. Jinnit with a surprising P3 there. A great lap from him. Did that early in quali as well. Zamaglis takes P4. Camden P5. JXW 6th. T-Money 7th. Maverick is 8th. Doth is 9th, Dernia 10th, Joshua 11th, Puff 12th, 13th for Beck, Ryan in 14th, Eric takes 15th, Porchy Dude 16th crashed out, and Axton could not get a good lap on the board there, just struggling to find a few extra tenths that would have moved him up a few spots. So Axton will start in P17 for the Grand Prix. We got the steward trying to influence the outcome of the race.
That seems kind of illegal to me.
Absolutely is. Bones needs to take a hike. But yeah, so we'll take a quick break. It'll be like a minute or two here, and we'll be back in there for the race session. Going to go refill my beverage so that I don't run out. I might run out of breath before I run out of wine. Anybody ready up?
Not yet.
All right, good stuff. They're starting to get it, I think. 10-second penalties to start the race aren't not something you really want to mess around with. All right, Scavney, any predictions, thoughts for the race? Sort of a, I wouldn't say standard qualifying. I mean, we do have some drivers in somewhat surprising spots. Other than those top two, we kind of expect to see them up top, and there they are again.
Well, I can see Jaden had a solid race today. He had good pace in qualifying, and he knows his way around this place pretty well. I think Camden is on for a good day as well.
Absolutely.
I can see one of the top two maybe having some struggles today. And we've seen them slip up every once in a while, not often, but it happens. I think with the rain playing a factor, we might see one of that today.
Yeah, for sure. Porchy Dude looks like he's readied up, and I'm not sure if they were told to do that, but if it was just a slight second early, then he might get away with it. But pretty sure Puff is usually the one that gives the go there. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on that. I'm not going to make any assumptions. But yeah, Jinnit, I think, poised for a podium here. Starting P3, really just needs to knock it past on the start, and obviously has the pace to maintain that. So we'll see with the changing conditions as well. We got to remember everybody, those laps in the wet. We don't know if people are running wet or dry setups. There's all kinds of factors to consider as we enter the Grand Prix here. Looks like everybody on dry tires, though, so that's interesting. Is it raining, though? It is raining, so it's a dry start, but with wet, possibly wet conditions about to happen. I'd imagine, though, if it's supposed to dry up, that you're probably going to see that rain taper off before it gets worse, but you never really know. The dynamic weather, that's the beauty of it. It can change many times through a race, so
I can see quite some chaos here if it indeed is going to get worse before it dries up.
absolutely. And everyone was given tire choice here. You see Jinnit has taken the mediums from P3. That could be a brilliant decision. Could really pay off well for Jinnit. JXW takes the mediums as well. Everybody outside the top 10 obviously takes the mediums too, which is pretty understandable. I'm wondering if the guys on the softs are banking on the rain getting worse, so they decided to take the softs because they know they're going to have to pit. Sort of make up as much time as you can while the conditions allow. But it's sort of on the fringe, it looks like, at this point, with the split strategies, especially guys that had tire choice going with softs at the front. So
I have a feeling that we might see some people try to stick it out in the dry tires if it doesn't get too wet. So
absolutely. I think unless DRS gets shut off, we'll probably not see. Oh, someone way off there. Who was that?
I think Packer had slowed way down on that little straight before the final couple corners. Not sure what was going on there, but seems to have it sorted.
Someone went off the road there. I think it was Maverick, but yeah, I think it takes over pretty early in this on this track for the AI. Anyways, we got Packer assuming his grid slot on pole position once again. That's what, his third of the season already, I think. It's pretty impressive. Lando slots into P2, Jinnit in third, Zimaglis fourth, Camden fifth. That is your top 5 for round 4 of Zenith Online Racing. It's the Austria Grand Prix. This is Tier 1. We're about to get things underway. Let's get back to the front. Try to get a nice shot of those lights for you and get them fired up. There we go. We have 3, 4, and 5 lights are on. And we're racing in Austria. Looks like a very good start for Packer there. Lando off the line. Well, Jinnit gets a good start as well. Covers off those guys behind. Look at that car down the inside. The Williams trying to take a look, and he just gets runs out of road there and almost nearly run off the track. So great start for those two up front. They are very close together. We got a lot of action going on here. Lots of cars side by side behind. Look at this group here. There's that Maverick taking a look at Camden down the inside. Maverick sends it and gets it done. Nice move from Maverick there on the opening lap. Looks like an AlphaTauri making a move on a Ferrari back there as well. That is T-Money passing Mr. Joshua, I believe. Puck Digital has dropped to the back of the field. And still side by side, Camden and Maverick here. Look at these two going wheel to wheel, and the Ferrari and the Tari behind battling. Durnia and JXW. Wow, great action here from the front runners at the opening stages of this lap and this race.
That was insane. Maverick had a huge run going into turn 1. He sent it up the inside, made up quite a few positions, and he's continued that charge. Made up quite a few places already in this race.
Yeah, he had such an acute angle into turn 1. I think it was him in that Williams car. It's such a weak angle into turn 1 that he sort of just had to straight edge the corner and barely got the car rotated, but recovered nicely and made a move on Camden in the next turn. It's good to see there. Here comes Zamaglis taking a peek at Jinnit here. Is that Jinnit dropped? It's ghosted for some reason, Jinnit. I don't think he's gone, though. Look at this. Camden and Maverick all over Zamaglis here. Maverick going for another move here, looking to the outside. All kinds of ghosting going on. Maverick around the outside, and Jinnit's run wide. Looks like
Camden will lose.
Yes, Camden, and there goes Maverick. Absolutely sails by Jinnit. Zamaglis still trying to fight this Maverick down the inside. Terrible angle from the camera director here. Oh, man, I wish they gave us a better shot of that one. But Maverick and Zem still side by side here. Here we go. Better angle. Still side by side. And Maverick gets it done. It's a great move. Durnia making a move on Jinnit. Now, Jinnit really struggling for grip here with those mediums. Just getting picked apart by the soft runners. That really seems to be the difference here. Oh, and there's a spin. That's Camden. He's made a big mistake. And he's caught the car, thankfully. No damage there, but lost a lot of ground to the guys he was dueling with. So Jinnit struggling to get those mediums warmed up with this light rain here. It looks like the soft runners made the right decision. They're getting a lot more heat in those tires on the first few laps of this race.
T-Money make his way past Jinnit as well. Jinnit did not have a great exit in the final corner, and it's costed him.
He doesn't have temperature. Look how much ground he's lost here. And even JXW on the mediums seems to be pressuring now.
Lando's made it past Packer for the lead.
Got a yellow in Sector 1. Someone's lost it back there.
Camden.
Is it Eric? Whoa. Bit of contact there with Jinnit. Had to cut the corner. He looks like he got run out of room there. So apologies for missing that. Lando has snagged the lead from Packer. It must have been an error, perhaps. I don't think he was terribly close, but there's so much action going on behind, I completely forgot to check in at the front. I was honestly...
They've really checked out up there. They've got 7-second lead already.
Yeah, they're way ahead. I almost forgot they were up there, honestly. The amount of action here, fighting for P3 and 4 and 5, and I just completely forgot to check in on that battle out front. I kind of just assumed they were both scampering off, and... Yeah,
Camden has broken his wing as well, off that spin in turn 1.
Yeah, so Camden in big trouble now. He's got a long way to go back around. Looks like he's dueling with Jinnit back there. And we got Maverick under pressure now from Zamaglis. So Maverick did really well in those opening laps, making up ground, but now it looks like he's under pressure here. Zem with that DRS slides down the inside. Still with these slippery conditions, and they're still wheel to wheel. Zem leaves just enough room there for Maverick. He had to get on the curb a little bit, so that would have cost him a bit of traction, but it looks like he got a nice run despite not having the DRS. Zem trying to close this maneuver out. Is he going to sweep across? He's close. He's not quite close enough to dive across, but Zem, yeah, takes that bad angle and drifts across the front of Maverick, and Maverick just has to yield that place. for the time being. Maverick will get a crack back at that, though. Check in with Doth here. He's pressuring Mr. Joshua. Got another yellow flag at the back there. Is that Beck has lost it? Beck has had a spin, it looks like. Doth applying the pressure. Let's get back to Maverick, who now is going to have a shot at Zamaglis, see if he can make up some ground here. Zem looked like he was struggling with tire temps early. It looks like he's found his pace now, though.
Zenith was forced to come to the pits as well. He had wing damage, and he's gone onto the soft tires, so
yeah,
this medium's definitely not worked out for him.
No, I think the mediums they're too cold right now, or they were at least. They may be working better now, but it was Maverick with that DRS, slices across the front of Zamaglis and gets that place back. Can he hang on to it here? Checking behind. Got some more action throughout the field back there. Puff trying to battle with Axton. Comes Zem. You can see through the rear wing, but he's not close enough, so it looks like Maverick going to hang on to that place for the time being. Puff Digital under pressure from Eric, but he's also applying the pressure to Axton, and just ahead you see that battle, Doth and Joshua. Doth has made his way through there on those soft tires, so the softs seem to be a much better tire at the moment. Probably in a few laps we might see those mediums start to pick up, though. Some good action back here as well, so there's all battles going on throughout the entire field at the moment. So Lagos looks like he's just starting to lose touch with Maverick there. Not quite hanging on to it. Here comes Eric applying the pressure to Puff. All over the back of him. Eric already with a penalty, though. Puff surely will see that, not be terribly threatened. But, this DRS train behind Axton. Axton actually closing on Joshua as well, so there's going to be a nice little party going on back here very shortly.
Joshua's run wide as well. Axton's closing the gap.
Here goes Maverick. He just must have had a moment. Zamaglis nearly got him there. I don't know if it was the DRS maybe, but Zem closing very quickly with that DRS. Not enough again, though, so Maverick going to hang on to that place for the time being. Check back in with Axton, closing at Mr. Joshua. Mr. Joshua, the chaperone of the party, doesn't want to hand out drinks just yet, but Axton and Puff are saying they're thirsty. They're looking for a little more action. And Eric also tagging along as well. Actually, Ryan closing on them too, so the party grows. Word on the street. Party at Mr. Joshua's gearbox. Zamaglis, speaking of stupid stories while we broadcast, Zamaglis is applying the pressure here to Maverick. Maverick, they've been sort of dueling back and forth for a few laps here, so Zamaglis trying to hang on, then not as close this time with the DRS, though.
It seems like the rain
Axton. Axton down the inside here on Joshua. Can he get it to stick? Joshua fighting it back on the outside. Puff licking his chops, watching this happen in front. Here goes Mr. Joshua, tucked in now with the DRS. Puff sitting back patiently, waiting for something. Side by side again, and Joshua with so much grip around the outside. Looks like he's going to get this place. Now they're still side by side. Look at this. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Still side by side in a very tricky corner. Very good stuff from both those drivers to give each other the space they needed. Axton, Joshua dueling it out cleanly there. Great stuff from these two. And now Puff asking for a dance as well. And look at that, Ryan. Ryan feels uninvited, and he has absolutely kicked the door down and wants in.
We're starting to see that DRS train form between these guys as well.
Absolutely. They're all just sort of towing each other up the road. Nobody really able to break away from one another. Great scrap going on back here. JXW is pressuring his teammate T-Money up the road as well. We'll check in on that battle shortly. Can we get an overtake here? Can Joshua do anything? Doesn't look like it. Puff looks like he's doing fairly well behind. Closing, but not close enough. So another lap behind the Axton train. The new conductor, JXW, behind his teammate T-Money. I don't know if these guys really work together or they just race each other, but JXW seems to be running a bit quicker at the moment. Those mediums seem to be coming to life now. The softs not looking as strong as the mediums, just in the sort of head-to-head area of the track. Otherwise, the softs runners are way up the road at the moment. Got a really good launch and a really strong start to the race for the soft runners, so they can kind of play with the gaps they've got now.
We have seen Portuguese and Axton both up several spots. JX to the inside of Team Money.
Here goes JX down the inside. Probably not going to fight that too much with your teammate. We also got Zamoglis applying the pressure to Maverick again. So these two really evenly matched. They're both able to just sit and harvest behind and then take charges at each other as they swap places. T-Money trying to hang on to his teammate JXW, but see how that shapes out in a few corners. Let's get back to the Axton party. The gaps all sitting around 6-7 tenths right now, so all sort of helping each other, carrying each other at the moment, but nobody really able to make any headway at the moment.
Something we see a lot here, especially with the mixed conditions. It's very tough when that DRS forms. There's just not enough of a momentum swing to find a spot to send it up the inside.
Yeah, exactly. If it's one car versus another, then it's a little more doable. But you'll see, like with Zamoglis and Alt Maverick, they're sort of able to actually make overtakes because of one-on-one. But with those trains, it's very difficult to break out of. There goes Zem by Maverick once more. Now Maverick going to get a crack back at him here. Maverick with the DRS now. Is he going to take another shot back, or is he just going to sit and bide his time? Looks like he's going to tuck in for this lap. Zamoglis with a bit of a lock up there. Check back in with Joshua and Axton. Joshua trying to make a move there. Puff just starting to lose touch, and Eric and Ryan still stuck behind. And it's really all it takes.
If they can stick within that 1 second, though, they'll still be able to just suck right back up to them. But as soon as they drop out of that 1 second range, it's going to be a lot more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Puff probably having to do a bit more defending, which is costing him that fringe DRS range at the moment. There goes Packer into the pits. He's put the hards on. He's leaving the pits now. Where is he going to filter out? Behind Maverick and Zem. That's not good news for Packer, because those two are not giving much ground. But he does get... Camden has pit also for the hards. Ryan is pit as well, as you mentioned, yes. Joshua looking to make a move here. He's close as he's been. Not quite close enough. So good news for Packer is he's ahead of the AlphaTauris, but he's stuck behind a very furious battle between Zem and Maverick. But one of those guys should be pitting shortly, and then Packer should be able to dispose of the other quite quickly.
I'm surprised we saw him go to the hard tires. I figured we'd see most if not all of these drivers go from the softs to the mediums, and the mediums to the softs. I didn't think we'd see the hards very much at all today. But
yeah, it's a bit surprising. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe he just thought if he pit early, he could make up ground in clear air. Maybe it's what he's thinking. I don't know, but he's not in clear air, so it's a bit of a curious decision there. Whoa, someone's way wide there. Is that Puff? It was. Puff runs way off the road. Eric all over the back of him now. Puff, even though with the DRS, runs a bit wide. He's able to defend that. Maverick and Packer. Packer slides through on Maverick, and he's going to make the move on Zem now, too. Packer with so much grip on those hards right off the bat. He's looking sharp on those hards. Zem with a big lock up there, and here comes Maverick now, trying to rein Zamoglis back in. Well, he's distracted with Packer ahead. This is very close. This battle has been basically from lap 1 on. 12 laps head-to-head for these guys. Axton has been passed by Mr. Joshua, yes.
It's still side-by-side as well.
Yeah.
JFD closes it off.
There's a throwback there, eh? JFD, I was like, JFD. I was like, yeah, I was like, there's a throwback name there. Good shout. I had to think for a second. I was like, JFD, he's not. I'm like, oh, wait a second. Axton. Trying to fight this back. Puff has reeled Axton back in as well. So Puff now closing on these guys, had that moment, but finally found his grip. Trying to close here. Eric hanging on, getting a free toe. Up at the front, Maverick and Samoglu still fighting. These two have not given an inch to each other tonight.
Should see the pit stop starting to come in any second now.
Yeah, for sure. I would think that medium runners can probably go about 20 laps, softs about 16, roughly.
Something about that.
So we'll see what happens there. Puff has picked up a penalty as well. Obviously ran really wide there, probably got it there. See if he can make a move now. He knows he needs to make up some ground with that penalty he's carrying. Maverick up the road there.
Axon's dropped out of DRS range as well.
Maverick is looking to make a move here on Zem, but not quite close enough yet again. Here, see if he can get it done here. No, looks like he's a little too far this time. Here comes, yeah, Axon's lost DRS. He's going to be under big pressure here from Puff. And Eric as well. And Puff get it done. He's close enough to think about it, but he tucks in, thinks better of it. Big lock up for Puff, though. That's going to hurt.
Maverick and Lando are both in.
So Lando pits finally. He's gone to the mediums, so interesting. Maverick has, we don't know what he's on yet. We'll see what he comes out on. Lando has come out just behind Dernia. It's extremely close, it seems, but Lando looks like he sent it and got it done. That's very close stuff. Maverick has pit, Doff has pit, Eric has pit. So Puff closing with that DRS again. He should have another shot down this next straight. He's thinking about it. Tucks in again. So Eric pits. That gets him off Puff, and then Puff makes a big fishtail there. Didn't lose too much with that DRS, kind of helping him reel Axton back in, but big snap there. He lost his DRS.
Packer's going back at Dernia as well.
Yeah, so Packer, well, around the outside, and Dernia, I don't know if he was going to defend it anyway, but Dernia dives into the pits. So Packer on a charge on those warmed up hards, maybe hoping he can take a crack at Lando before he gets those mediums up to snuff.
That should be most of the field in as well.
Eric now battling with Doth, so that'll help Puff for sure. Eric has pit to the softs, though. That's a tall order to take those 21 laps.
I'm surprised he didn't try to take those mediums a little longer. Oh, Beck is out.
Beck is out of the race. Could we get a safety? Oh, he's in the pits, yeah. Probably not a safety car then. Another frustrating night for Beck. Camden also struggling at the back there, and Jinnit really hasn't recovered since that opening lap incident either. Really tough sledding in Tier 1 here. You really can't afford to make a mistake. It does cost you dearly here.
Right to the inside of Doth.
So Eric gets by, gets that move done. We're still checking in this battle with Axton, who's caught back up to Joshua. He's got Puff and Dernia now behind. Dernia on fresh medium is going to sort of disrupt things here with this group. Puff gets a really nice run out of that corner, and he might actually have a shot at Axton here. Not close enough, though. If Axton didn't have that DRS again, I think he'd be okay, but Puff just having to, yeah, Puff just having to bide his time here. He did get a good exit. He might have it on the slipstream here, though Axton with that DRS is able to defend. Puff's got to take a chance here. It's close enough to send it, and he does down the outside very deep, and Axton just takes that defensive line and covers off the apex nicely. It was a great defense there from Axton. Yeah. He knew Puff had no choice but to take that line, so it was a really smart move from him just to sit there on the inside. As close as Puff has been. And unfortunately... Oh, here comes Joshua, though. With that extra grip, just hucks it down the inside. So, unfortunately for Puff, that's as close as he's been. Now he's picked up another penalty. Oh, and nearly lost it there. Just completely thrown off through that sequence of corners there. Durnia looking to make a move now on Axton.
He's going to have him here.
He does. Right down the inside. You should get him on the grip in the braking zone. He does. Gets that apex covered nicely. Now Puff going to try and capitalize on that move there. See if he can reel Axton in. Not quite close enough. So Puff had finally gotten enough juice and enough of a good run to get by Axton, but Axton had closed up to Joshua just enough to get DRS again, and it sort of gave him enough to fight that back, and brilliant defense there on the inside, covered that off well.
A little bit, that's all you need to hold off.
It looks like Durnia being let through by Joshua. Good teamwork there, not surprising, but Joshua went off the road to let him through. It was probably a bit silly.
Closing up to the back of that one Portuguese dude as well, who's still running out on those old mediums.
Yeah, a lot of guys really extending on these mediums. Well, most guys have pit. I'm guessing the guys that pit to the softs know that they'll get to the end more than likely, even if they do take them longer than they take the mediums. Or at least praying for that. Maybe not actually going to happen, but here comes Eric. He's going to get by Ryan here on much fresher tires. Sort of an easy pass for Eric. So Eric into a little bit of clear air now. Puff still dueling, so Puff probably going to lose some ground there on Eric. But will his tires survive? That's the question. Eric, the tire management, we're not sure if he's going to be able to get them to the end.
Puff's going to have those much fresher softs at the end if he'll be able to take advantage of those.
Durnia passes the Portuguese dude, who I think is heading into the pits here. He is. Puff and Axton stay out. KXW still out there in P3 on those old mediums as well.
Maverick's going to have Zem into turn 1, maybe. Side by side through the apex.
Here comes Maverick. Great shout. There's so much action going on, it's hard to keep track of who's where. Yeah, Maverick gets that done. Just so much more pace at the moment. It's actually closing up on Puff Digital, who finally has Axton. Oh, Axton still has DRS somehow. That's shocking. I thought he was finally going to get a crack at him here. You see the blistering on Puff's tire starting in the center there. A bit of graining going on. Sort of on that slightly outer edge. Not the edge, but the outer chunk. You can see the graining line form there. And Axton probably in a similar boat. His tires look a little... Puff is heading in, Axton heads in as well, so... Puff try to jump him on the pit line here. He gained a lot on him, though. That was very close. He got him, he timed that perfectly, Puff, and gained a ton of time as they crossed the line there. We'll see if he can maybe take a shot at him on the exit. Comes Zimoglis now, fighting with that Maverick again. This is literally almost the entire race up to this point. These two have been fighting, even after pit stops. This is just insane, this battle. It's going to be one for the ages, these two. And for I think it's net P5, maybe even P4. So Puff lost a little bit of time to Axton there on the pits. But he's actually close enough for DRS still, so Puff should be able to reel Axton in, but Axton will not have DRS anytime soon with the cars ahead of him quite a ways up the road, so Puff's going to have a chance here to actually finally get this overtake done without Axton having DRS as well. We'll check back in on that shortly.
Has closed up to the back of Doth. It's going to be within DRS.
Josh has pit now as well. Let's see where he filters out. Here comes Doth. I think he's going to be behind Porchy Dude Joshua at least. Here comes Axton. These guys might undercut him. Here comes Joshua. Axton's going to get him on the exit. Look at this. Side by side. Axton's got the grip. I think he's going to get it done. So it's going to be Puff tucked in behind Joshua now. Puff. Oh, late send from Puff. I don't think that was well advised, but he thought maybe with the cold tires he could pull off a sneaky one there. He's lucky he got away with that without damage.
Porchy Dude's gotten past off as well into turn 3.
Nice move from Porchy Dude there. Get that job done. I was busy watching this three-way battle back here, so I've missed that, unfortunately. Got Maverick still, and Zamog was still duking it out up at the front here. Just trading blows constantly, these two.
Maverick got a great exit there out of turn 1. He might have him once again.
Here he goes. Down the inside. Oh, he tucks in. Maybe trying to make sure he gets it done on this corner instead so that he can try to build on it. Nah. Doesn't look like
it. Was a bit of a late decision there to back out of that.
I agree. I don't think that was intentional. Maybe just didn't see the move getting done there. But here comes Joshua now on the slightly fresher tires, going to make that move on Axton, and he gets by. So Puff having to sit back and watch that while he tries to reel these two back in. Oh, Puff! Oh, that was a big mistake there. He nearly lost the car. He's lucky to get that recovered. And he didn't really lose all that much. Like the way how bad that looked, he's lucky he only lost like a second and a half there.
It's gonna take him right out of DRS though.
It will, but he probably can reel that back in if he just calms down for a lap or two there. Doth is pit, not gonna get to the end on those tires. I imagine Eric gonna be in the same boat as well. So we got Maverick and Zem going for round 24 here. Oh, some terrible camera angles. I looked away for a second and I saw nothing but forest. And the crowd goes wild. They love my comments. That was great. Did you hear that? Oh, man. That was hilarious.
The Orange Army.
Yeah. The Peanut Gallery approves. Porchy Dude making a move on Eric. Gets it done. Looks like he seems to have good grip right now. Zem and Maverick side by side again. Zem tucks it in now, so Maverick does get that place. Puff Digital has reeled back into DRS range here. He's got Axton up the road and Joshua trying to slip away, but can't really do much. That DRS keeping Axton within reach, and Puff has spun it, and he's hit the wall. Has he lost a bit of? He's lost a bit of his wing.
He's lost his right end plate.
I thought he almost got away with that, but oh man, another frustrating night here for Puff. Jinnit calls it a night as well. Puff right in the thick of a fantastic battle. Pushed a little too much and caught the barrier there, and he's going to be absolutely fuming with himself there, I assume. If I know him, which I do pretty well, he'd be really frustrated with that, so it's rough to see it again. But he was right there in the thick of a great battle for 70% of the race, and just got to take those little moments away, and he's going to get some good results before the season's said and done.
JX has started to catch up to Zem and Maverick as well. Not quite within DRS, but he's right there.
Yeah, so Zem and Maverick still battling it out, and as you said, JXW on much fresher softs in a really good spot here, so could see JXW potentially move back into his P4 spot. Dernier looks like he's poised for a P3 finish here at this point. I don't think Packer's going to be able to close that gap on Lando on those hard tires. They're probably not the right tires for this stage of the Grand Prix. But maybe Packer just felt like he had to do something different, try something different. So Joshua is sitting behind Eric now, and Axton has lost the DRS to Joshua, so let's check in with that. JXW actually very close to Zimagos here, and Eric got into the pits, so Joshua gets by.
Zem has a moment.
Yeah, I missed that. Looks like he maybe just ran a little wide, and then JXW just snuck right by. So some of these guys on starting to feel the pressure a little bit here. Just pushing a little too hard and costing themselves some time. So Zem, very close to JXW, who is very close to Maverick now. And then Doth behind is applying the pressure to Camden, who's on very old hard. Surely just trying to get to the end and hope he can snag a point or something by the time it's all said and done. Maverick picks up a time penalty, though. That's going to hurt him. JXW and Zem do not have penalties, neither does T-Money behind. So T-Money could reel these guys in. He might be able to pick up an extra place here.
Maverick's up to 9 seconds already.
Oh, wow. I did not notice he had 9 seconds. Should probably check the penalties, actually. And 9 seconds, and Lando and Packer both have 6. Dernier's got 3. There goes JXW by Maverick. Job done.
Joshua around Portugal as well. Slides into P8.
Yeah, a lot of penalties out there for a few guys. Puff has 18 seconds in penalties. That's a bit high. So he's would have been in trouble anyways, I think, beyond that mistake he had with the time penalties he's carrying at the moment. Pretty unfortunate, but anyway, let's get back to the racing. Get those tires back up. Let's check the fastest laps for you guys. I said let's get back to the racing, and the crowd started cheering again. Man, I like this crowd. It's funny. So Zem applying the pressure, Camden and Doth. Looks like Doth has made his way through. Ryan is now pressuring Eric as well.
Well, Zem's going to send it into turn 2.
Does send it. It's a very late send. And not enough. Maverick has got it covered for the time being. Let's get that off the screen. What I'm just going to do is check the fastest laps real quick. Looks like Porchy Dude currently with the fastest lap. 105.2. I wonder if anybody else considered going for that before it's all said and done.
Packer's going to have about a full pit stop advantage over the drivers behind, so
yeah,
potentially a quick off stint.
He's on the hards. It's probably worth it to get off them and try it, go for the softs. He'll get by Dernier anyway at this rate.
JX isn't too far off a podium here either.
No, the time penalties he has to consider, though, Packer.
That is true.
He has to be sure he can cover off the penalty he has. Because Dernier has 3, but I think Packer has 6. So, it's back to the Maverick and Zem show. We're on lap 30 out of 36. Here comes Zem again. These two have honestly just been trading positions the entire Grand Prix. It's absolutely brilliant racing between these two. No one's put a foot wrong, really, either. They've been racing hard and clean all night. It's definitely the best battle I've seen all season, I think. We saw some great racing in the previous 3 rounds of Tier 1 so far, but as far as a head-to-head battle, this has got to be top of the standing so far. These two, 31 laps in to their 36-lap battle. By the time this is said and done, I don't think either of these guys is yielding to the other, and Maverick carrying that penalty, so he's got to make up some ground here. Zem really just has to stay close. I'm sure he would like to finish ahead just for the extra bragging rights, but just has to sit close. Joshua now closing up to T-Money.
Might have a shot here in turn 2.
Joshua, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely looks like he's got a crack at this thing. Not quite.
He's
Maybe
got the tire
here.
advantage, so I think it'll just be a matter of time.
Zem, though, is he going to send another late one? He does. Oh, and they do bump wheels. Zem just lifts out of that, though. I think he was sort of a courtesy lift, just because he knows he made contact. He didn't want to take a place like that. Probably a smart move, especially with the time penalty. You don't want to give the stewards a reason to slap you with anything themselves, right? I think it would have still been clean anyway, honestly, but just to be safe, there's really no need to risk it. So yeah, Joshua looking to find a way through on T-Money here. As you mentioned, has that tire advantage, so should be able to do something with it.
Oh, a little bit of a moment. Hung on to it, though.
Yeah, Zog, what happened there? You missed the race. You missed the commentary. I noticed you said earlier never checked in for commentary, and then I guess maybe just couldn't make it home in time or something like that. But yeah, it's been brilliant racing, honestly. Between Maverick and Zem, they've been battling the entire Grand Prix, and it's been really clean. Even that little bump there, I don't think would have gotten penalized anyway. But there's no sense for Zimaglis to force an overtake when he's got the time penalty. Oh, actually, Zem has a time penalty now as well. So I keep going to the wrong thing there. Maverick has 9 seconds though, and Zem has 3, so I think he's got that covered fairly easily.
Jax has picked up one as well, which, if without that, he would have only been 2/10 off the podium. So I could have ruined those chances.
Yeah, but JXW again with another really strong race out here. P4 even is a really great result for him after his start to the season.
And he's had very impressive pace.
Yeah, he's been strong in both this tier and EU. Here comes Joshua on T-Money here. And it looks like T-Money got a better exit there, but Joshua going to try another crack at it with the slipstream and the DRS. Goes around the outside this time. T-Money cannot defend that, just tucks in, but big lockup for Joshua. That should help T-Money stick close. Zimaglis and Maverick still dueling, and now Axton has caught up to that Porchy dude. That one Porchy dude. Assuming he's Portuguese. But does he still have the fastest lap? Let's check in on that quickly. He does still have the fastest lap, so Packard definitely has that gap to cover a fastest lap now if he wants to. He could probably pit and get it done now. No real massive position changes either. Everybody's sort of hovering around where they started the race. And Axton looking to make a move on Porchy dude. Here he goes down the inside. They're still wheel to wheel. Axton covers off that apex nicely and gets the move done, at least for the time being. Porchy dude looking to fight that back, but gets onto the grass of it, and that's probably going to hurt his run into that corner. Zimaglis applying the pressure to Maverick still. He's close enough to gain that place on penalties. Doesn't need to do anything dramatic. Maybe just wants to get ahead for bragging rights. And actually, Joshua is probably going to lead both these guys on penalties at this rate. And T-Money as well, even. T-Money has reeled them in, as I said. T-Money had to do a little bit of work to reel these guys in and would gain a lot on penalties, and he's right there now.
He's managed to do it, and Packer has come in as well, fitted those softs.
Yeah, no doubt.
Probably 10-second advantage to Dernier.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer, I think, for Packer at this point. He'll get that fastest lap before it's all said and done. Oh, Lando's pit. Lando's pit as well. So Lando wants that fastest lap for himself too. Actually, he won't be able to get it though because we're on lap 36, so he's not gonna be able to get a fastest lap in when he's just starting his final lap, is he?
Yeah, not sure what that was all about.
No, I think he missed the window there. Unless he had a puncture, perhaps.
It's the only other thing I could think of.
Yeah, maybe. We'll find out after the race if there was some kind of incident there or why he pitted. Maybe just lost track of the lap counter, didn't realize he didn't have time to put the lap up, because obviously trundling out of the pit lane is probably not going to get you the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But we're on the final lap now. Zimaglis and Maverick have dueled from lap 1 to lap 36, and they're still fighting it out here. Penalties will shuffle that order a little bit, and we're going to see Joshua and T-Money gain some ground. Camden at the back, still very close to Doth, despite the fact he was passed quite a little while ago. But pretty much from the start of the race, through qualifying, and through the early stages, the class of the field, Excel, Lando, and Packer. Oh, Packer nearly got Lando on the overcut, or the undercut there. Unbelievable stuff. Lando is going to cross the line in first, but Packer is extremely close. What's happened here? That is insane stuff. I nearly got him. I don't believe that. Packer finishes P2 by a tenth and a bit. Here comes Matthew Dernia looking to pick up his, I think, another podium. It's multiple podiums for Dernia this season now. And there he goes for P3. Matthew Dernia. JXW behind, finishes 3/10 off, not close enough. Maverick going to cross the line in P5. Will lose a bit of ground, I believe, here. Zem gets him, Joshua gets him, and T-Money gets him. So Maverick down to 8th there. So Joshua takes P5, T-Money P6, Zem P7, Maverick, as we said, P8, Axton takes P9, and the last point of the day goes to that Porchy Dude. Oh, and it's a puncture for Porchy Dude. So maybe there was a puncture on those mediums. Perhaps that was why. Let's check the fastest lap. It looks like Packer did get the fastest lap, 104.1. So if Lando didn't pit, there's no way that Packer could have beat him there. But the fact that he pit on the final lap, he must have had a puncture. Because he had a 10-second advantage over Packer. How did he lose 10 seconds by pitting? It doesn't make sense, right?
Exactly, and if Porchy did have the puncture as well,
it's definitely possible. Yeah. Maybe that's why Packer went for the hards. But that's it. You see that wobbly, ugly tire there. Porchy Dude gets the final point, Lewis Hamilton style on a flat tire. And he did have fastest lap for quite some time. Matthew Dernia, driver of the day, not surprising. Up to P3 there. Great result for Dernia. We'll run you through the order shortly. There's Michael Schumacher on the top step of the podium once again. A sight most people were sick of seeing, but would probably give their left nut for these days. Packer again snags another podium. Nearly a victory there. The best of friends, Packer and Schumacher, as you can see. Schumacher and that Williams too. Anyways, really interesting finish to the race there. I'm really surprised. You got to think Lando must have had a puncture there. He had to have had a puncture. But to lose that much time, I don't think Packer was that much quicker. Yeah, let's definitely run you through the order quickly here. Let's get the rest of the field in. Let's see. Portugal gets that final point. Eric takes P11, Camden 12, Puff 13th, Doth 14th, Ryan 15th, Jinnit 16th, and Beck 17th. So not a terrible result for Puff overall, given that mistake. He ended up gaining a few places on some other drivers. Looks like Ryan maybe retired. He was down 3 laps at the end there.
He had a spin and then retired in the pit lane with a few laps to go. So
yeah, so Jinnit as well gave up on his race, and Beck too. Jinnit had a really strong qualifying and ended up losing a lot of ground on the race start and just unraveled from there. So that's the way it goes sometimes. And that's it for round 4. Let's 9:12. What an early finish to the race. Let's get these interviews done by 9:20. We'll get these guys in here. Scav, are you interested in carrying the interviews, or do you want me to do that? It's up to you. All right. Well, if you got some questions you want to ask the guys, feel free. I usually leave it to the co-commentator to handle the interviews if they're interested. Let me get get these guys in the party. And who was it? Camden. You've got it, eh? All right. Sorry, why did I say Camden? I must have been reading his name on my list or something. Lando, Packer, and Durnia. You got all of them? Alright, if you got them all, just leave it.
Making their debut in 1977, Williams are one of the most famous and well-recognized teams in motorsport. They started out as a very small single-car team in the 1970s and made their way to a position of absolute dominance through parts of the 1990s. In that time, Williams have had some of the most famous and accomplished drivers of all time in the driver's seat, including Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, Jenson Button, and, of course, the late, great Ayrton Senna.
Just waiting on Lando then.
What's happening, boys?
What's up?
There we go. Great race again, guys.
Well, there wasn't much racing for Lando or me.
Until the
Yeah,
end.
neither for me.
Well, that was artificial because Lando decided to slow down.
What? That's sad. I was hoping he had a puncture. I was waiting for some juicy drama.
Yeah,
Come
so
on, you
artificial
can't-
puncture.
don't do
artificial
that.
puncture.
Don't do that. Don't slow down. Just kick his ass. Don't slow down.
I was considering just going full throttle through the last two corners to take him out.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
should've.
lie.
If you
I was
did.
trying to stop his fastest lap.
I absolutely played you though with that fastest lap.
Well, not really, because I still won.
And then you still won the race, but that doesn't matter.
All right. This is devolving quickly. Let's let Scavney get the interviews rolling, and then yeah.
We'll start with P1. Lando, fantastic drive, led I believe every single lap of the Grand Prix. Just consistent. Had a couple penalties here and there, but very solid race overall. What were you thinking during the entire course of the race?
Well, I mean, I wasn't thrilled with the rain because it's really not time for rain. But yeah, I was actually quite happy that we was on dry tires in the wet because I don't know, for some reason they actually feel quite nice. But yeah, I think it was helped by Zenith going mediums, which you really do not want to do when it's wet. So yeah. I knew, like, pretty much from the start, if Zenith was still P3, then me and Packer would just pull away, so... Yeah, and then got past him, and then it was just a case of, well, basically just trying to keep out of the barriers, but... Yeah, happy to win, and hopefully hopefully Brazil will be a little bit more close.
Still a very, very solid result overall, and then... With the rain at the start, did you guys have any sort of troubles or struggles with the grip during the first few laps?
Only through turn 3. I was using a really kind of low downforce setup, so yeah, turn 3 was an issue, but the rest of the track was okay. I think the second to last corner, I think it was the third to last corner actually, it was a bit twitchy. In quali it was really bad. I think I actually went off with Zemoglis at the same time, and we kind of did synchronized spinning into the gravel, but yeah, in the race it was actually okay.
And moving on to our second place finisher, Packer. It's been a fantastic start to the season. Had a very, very good start to the race here, and then the big strategy call today. You went on to the hard tires during the first pit stop of the Grand Prix. What was your plan there? Were you trying to go for the undercut, trying to switch it up a little bit? What was your plan?
I went onto the hards because the last league race I did, doing the soft medium strategy was just terrible because all the people who pit under the hards could undercut you, and then well, there's just a giant DRS change there, but Lando and I got pretty lucky off the start and were able to just pull away, got comfortable in the tricking conditions early on because we just had clean air, and I think a few of the guys behind were fighting. So we were able to just pull away, so there was no traffic really for Lando to go through. I think I had to pass 2 cars, but that was about it. So, I mean, I was happy with clean air, and then Lando came out in front of me, so I wasn't able to undercut him. So I guess that was the goal there, but it didn't end up working out.
Yeah, still a very solid race for you. And then we'll move on to our third place finisher, Matthew Durnia. A very solid race. Nothing too crazy going on, but you had a little bit of congestion right after the pit stops, coming out with your teammate, and right in that pack. Was there a little bit of team orders going on there? How'd you navigate that action?
Yeah, it was definitely a great night for the team following up on the disaster of last week. The race was pretty boring after, the first 3 laps. It went from P10 to P3. Coming out of the pit stops, I had a nice overtake, and I forgot who it was, but yeah, then Joshua just moved over for me very nicely before the last 2 corners. I was expecting him to, I'll pass him on the straight, but he moved over. Great teammate. Love racing with Josh.
And a very solid race for you guys overall. Bigga, anything to add here?
Not much to add. The only question I really had was for Lando, is if why he pit, why he decided to pit there. But no, we know he was just being a shit disturber now, so I don't really have
classic.
I was actually, to be fair, I was I was surprised Packer actually pit. I obviously know he went for fastest lap, but yeah, I was still surprised a little bit. But yeah, I was actually worried a little bit that the tyres were going to puncture. I think coming towards the pit, they were actually on 74%, and they can puncture at 75 and higher. So I was like, don't really want to risk it, because I've won a league race around here before where the guy in P2 actually got a puncture at turn 3 on the final lap, and then I went on to win it. So yeah, I kind of just didn't want to risk it, even with Packer pitting. I didn't really want a Hamilton and Verstappen situation where I'm just trying to get to the line, but I just wanted it to just make sure that I actually reached the finish and not either retire or end up finishing P2 because of it.
And that was the speculation from me at the end. I was thinking, the amount of time you'd lost just by pitting, I was like, well, surely you must have had some sort of issue if you'd gone in.
Yeah.
Because it was just odd that you lost so much time.
On that lap, I think, I went on the grass, twice as well. I was, really losing the back end. I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to pit just to make sure.
You could have went into a wall as well. That would have been nice.
I was really close, actually, through turn 4. It was... I got in the power and was like, oh, okay.
The only other question really I've got is, when you guys qualified, did you punch in wet setups thinking that there would actually be a full wet start to the race? As we saw in the chat that you guys knew it was going to rain at the start, but did you think we were going to be starting on dry tires or no? Anyone can answer this question, all 3 of you.
Well, I saw obviously it was wet quali, so I checked the race conditions after, and it said it was going to start on inters, or it was going to be intermediate conditions. So I was like, I've had at least 5 races now on this game or something where it's said it's going to start wet, but it started on dry tires. Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't too bothered about it because the next tab was going to be dry. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep my dry setup. And I think I upped my front wing by 1 for quali, but then I lowered it back down for the race.
I told Josh it was going to be worst case scenario starting on the dries, and that's exactly what happened.
All right. So seems like you guys kind of
question? Knew. Yeah. Can I ask Packer and Lando, were you guys having terrible hydroplaning coming out of turn 7 in quali?
Turn 7?
It's the first corner of sector 3. It was awful.
I wasn't having that many issues.
Oh yeah, actually on the not so much 7, but it was probably the exit, through 8.
Yeah.
That's why, I think half the drivers went off. I was just like, oh, this... I think me and Zamoglis did, synchronized spinning into the gravel. It was bad. It was...
Yeah,
But
the two
I
of you
think,
did run off there. I caught that on the stream, so you can
yeah, I think it
relive
was
your
just a low
glory.
Wednesday. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if you guys have any questions for each other. Like, obviously, Darren, you threw one in there, and if anybody else has anything quickly, feel free to throw it in or add it. We're going to wrap things up.
No, just thanks for joining, you guys. I gotta go. Have a great night. Thank you for
All
hosting.
right. See you later.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, Lando DM'd me, or we were DMing before the race, or I think on like Sunday or Saturday, and he's like, Lando's like, yeah, you're gonna beat me for sure. You have so much better quali pace than I do. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then it rained in quali, so I was like, oh well, here we are.
Trying to throw you off a little bit, get you that psychological, so you maybe wouldn't practice as hard while he's sweating.
Well, no, I still practiced hard. I did 4 sessions with no line, but I mean,
yeah, fair enough. But yeah, no, another really entertaining race. Obviously, a really quick one, despite the rain. It still went pretty fast. So we're done pretty early tonight. Sometimes we don't finish this thing up till 9:30, and it's a lot earlier than that. So I think I'm pretty much ready to wrap it up. You said Brazil's next week. I really should check the calendar before we get to the end of the Grand Prix every week because, man, I'm so checked out in the Discord. Honestly, all I do is show up and commentate anymore. That's all I do. So I gotta pay a little more attention to that calendar and the standings. But really good result for you, Packer, and Lando obviously as well. And then Camden had a really rough night, so you gained a lot of ground on him tonight. So that's big for the championship. But Camden will rebound surely. He doesn't really have too many bad races. That might be the only one this year. So got to capitalize while the opportunity's there. Scavney, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Don't think so.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me tonight. Appreciate you being in the booth with me here. And we'll see you again sometime down the road. And we got plenty of races to go. Speaking of, we have Thursday night in Austria for Tier 2, and then Sunday afternoon in North America, 3 p.m., 8 p.m. UK time. The EU tier wraps the week up for round 4 in Austria here at Zenith Online Racing. Next week, we go to Brazil for round 5. You can catch us here again, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday night. It'll be round 5. I'm Arbiga, signing off. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Get the notifications when we go live 3 times a week here for plenty of e-racing action. And we'll see you next week.